Hey guys, Curtis Alexander. In this video, let's talk about, can the carnivore diet hurt your thyroid? I was carnivore for a while. I do believe it hurt my thyroid. In this video, I'll talk about what's going on in your body when you do this and things you can do to help alleviate some of that. So let's hop right into it. So you need to understand, I'm very, very pro muscle meat. I get a full grass-fed beef each year. I have nothing against eating meat. And I've actually done this and experienced downside of the carnivore diet. So nothing personal against meat, but your body does make adjustments. So here's what's going on. Your body's preferred source of energy is glucose. So if we limit carbohydrates like we do in the carnivore diet, your body will start off a stress-based response to make glucose, and it does that a couple ways. Number one, epinephrine, which is basically adrenaline, stress-based hormone, that will get into the liver and fatty tissues and can convert that to glucose. So far, so good. Now, as your liver glycogen is your stored form of sugar in the liver, as it becomes depleted, we also see cortisol secreted. Now, cortisol, as you probably are aware, is one of our stress hormones. Cortisol can take the amino acids from protein and make energy out of that. Now, keep in mind, it can take the amino acids from the protein that you're eating in your diet, or it can take amino acids from your own muscles and convert that to an energy source. So we're getting any energy source from fat and protein if needed, but this is a stress-based response. The downside, along with this whole thing, but another downside is cortisol inhibits thyroid function. The other thing that's going on, when you consume a high amount of muscle meats, the amino acids that make your proteins, the amino acid content in muscle meat is very high in tryptophan and in cysteine, okay? We know that both these amino acids also inhibit the thyroid and your mitochondrial function. Your mitochondrial function is your energy powerhouse in each of your cells. The other thing that happens when you're consuming a lot of tryptophan, tryptophan is a precursor to serotonin, so serotonin levels go up. Serotonin is also a stress-based hormone. We see an increase in inflammation. We can see a downregulation in your immune system. We can see accelerated aging, so you're aging faster. And again, we're going to see an increase in cortisol, and so we have this kind of loop going on. Now, let me be very clear. These things at the surface are not bad. These are survival mechanisms put in place by our bodies to survive when we don't have enough carbohydrate or to make glucose as our preferred energy source, okay? So this is not bad in and of itself, but you have to understand this is what happens when you eliminate carbs or you're just consuming muscle meats, all right? So basically what we have is when you're carnivore, you're essentially mimicking a stress-based response. Okay, so we have stress. You are also accelerating aging. Now, one of the interesting things, we talked about tryptophan. Your tryptophan levels go up when you're on carnivore. If you are able to decrease tryptophan or cysteine levels, either one, what they've seen in studies is that the life extension benefits of that are on par, sometimes higher than actual caloric restriction. You see people going, I would need to restrict calories, you'll live longer. The same thing holds true if you limit tryptophan and cysteine. So the moral of the story is if you're carnivore and you're discovering that you may have thyroid problems, low body temperature, low energy, low pulse rate, those sorts of things, I'd encourage you to balance out your amino acids. You don't have to stop carnivore if it's what works for you, but you do have to balance out some of these amino acids. I'd also encourage you to introduce some healthy carbohydrates, some ripe fruits, honey, maple syrup, and I'm seeing more and more of these carnivore folks who are doing this. And I don't know if they're being completely forthright about why they're doing it, but I suspect that they're starting to experience some problems. You know, there are people out there that have done carnivore 5 years plus and say it works great for them, and more power to them. My point in this video isn't to dissuade you and say carnivore doesn't help some people. Like I said, I probably did carnivore like 6 months. I was strict. There were some early benefits, but for me, it wasn't sustainable. It wasn't enjoyable. I did not feel well on it long term. So, and behind me on the board here is a big part of the reason why. When you understand how your body is going to compensate by eliminating micronutrients and macronutrients, it starts to make a little more sense. So let me know in the comments, guys, have you experienced any thyroid problems on the carnivore diet, any other issues? I'd love to hear about it. And I know that other people watch the video, find the comments really helpful, particularly if you're coming from personal experience. So I hope this was helpful, guys. I will see you in the next one. Thank you.